his vision, leadership, and influence in our community. We deeply appreciate his extraordinary efforts, which have significantly shaped Madera County into the best county to live, work, and play.
Thank you.
Mr.
Bill?
Chairman.
Before you speak, we got this beautiful proclamation for you, so we're going to come down here and get a picture with us.
Okay, where do you want me, Tom?
Where do you want us at? Right over there, okay? Or over here in front?
You know, we can line up in front of the podium, maybe on this side.
Typically, this is a good place to do it.
Yeah, just
because
leave
you
him
have
at the
more of an
podium,
angle.
yeah.
Yeah, come in front of the podium. Yeah, there you go.
You're right in front of us?
All right.
Lead the way.
I happen to know where the best place to
You make sure that every time you get
He knows how quickly he got to that place, too.
There you go. Yeah, just right up here, yeah.
Not hard to find.
Let me just say,
Bill, go ahead, turn on the other microphone. I got a microphone.
oh, okay. Do I need it?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I was really lucky when I got my first teaching job in Madera, and landed in Chowchilla, and then went up in the mountains, and of course Golden Spring Valley, and then down here to Madera. So that kind of that triangle, and every place that I went, I was just taken by the history of this county. And it wasn't long before it dawned on me that if you look at the history of Madera County, it's really a microcosm of the frontier history of America. That is to say, if you start in the foothills with the miners' frontier and move on down to the lumbermen's frontier, and then the cattlemen's frontier, and then the farmers' frontier, and then as communities grew up around those frontiers, folks, our county mirrors our national growth and a picture of the United States. So I just got lucky, and I want to thank you very, very much.
You are so welcome. We are very lucky to have him in our community, but who benefited the most and still benefits is our students and our kids that grew up with all the history stuff that he's done for them. They will never, ever forget you, Bill. Our students and kids, they still talk about you. I mean, it's just amazing how the impact he had on our students. So thank you so much for all that you've done for our community. That's for sure.
He says he's the one that's lucky. I'll tell you, we are.
Right.
I don't say this about very many people, but Bill Coates one of my favorite people in the world.
I'm not? Let's see if I vote yes again. Yes, Dave is right. So I don't know what happened to my agenda, but somebody stole it from me.
Here.
Where in the heck?
Tom, as chairman, you should really come prepared for these meetings.
Yeah. I don't know who got. Oh. Ah, there it is. Somebody put all these papers on my desk. Very important here. Gosh darn. Okay. The agenda item number 4. Moving to that. Let's see. We got all that done. I got my agenda item. Public comment.
Public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session is set aside for members of the public to comment on any item within the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. Items presented under public comment may not be discussed or acted upon by the board at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public is invited to comment at the time the item is called for consideration by the board. Any person addressing the board under public comment will be limited to a 3-minute presentation to ensure that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak. Any handouts to the board must be submitted to the chief clerk of the board for distribution to the supervisors. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium. Also, all persons addressing the board may state their name and county of residence for the record.
Are you going to take that off?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I like the button you have underneath it.
Thank you. I like it also. My name is Bar Colberg. I'm a resident of Madera County, specifically CSA 19, which is the Rolling Hills area. Mr. Chairman, board members, I'd like to address you today as the managers of CSA 19. And I had a concern after the last board meeting when Mr. David Frisbee brought forward some financial, not really nice-looking financial aspects with regards to Bakeman Water. So I did some research, and what you have in front of you is a copy of an order from the Public Utility Commission back in 2003. And basically what I've done is I've highlighted lots of different things on here for you, but the very toward the back where the page is folded over for you to make it easy, here are some of the orders and the following recommendations that came from the Water District audit that was what happened. Number 2 item on there says, Bakeman shall maintain better and more detailed financial records for its expenditures. It makes you question, if somebody was already doing what they're supposed to be doing, why would you take and order them to do that? So I would have to believe that maybe they weren't. You can draw your own conclusions. Bakeman shall maintain detailed records of any and all transactions it enters into in other businesses, including businesses owned by Bakeman family members. Bakeman shall develop continuing property records for capital plant expenditures funded by SDWBA loan. That's basically all I wanted to do, was to draw your attention to something that the PUC decided that they had to specifically address with regards to Bakeman in 2003 when they were discussing a rate increase. So that's basically it, gentlemen. I thank you, and I wanted to bring that to your attention so that you could have as much information as possible and be informed when it comes time for making your decision.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Come on up.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
My name is Linda Deneen Drafting and Design. I work in Fresno, have an office in Fresno. The last time I spoke with you, I did not have very pleasant things to say, but things have changed, and I am back. And I, first of all, wanted to say how impressed I am that you open your meetings in prayer. That is virtually unheard of in a government setting, and so that encourages me to speak from a spiritual standpoint this time as well. And I could tell last time that several of you were very shocked to see the huge impact fees that were imposed on projects of various sizes in the ranchos, especially the crippling fees for the Mars family and what they were facing with building that guest house for their daughter. Through this whole grueling process, I have felt that God was using me to make a difference and to right a wrong, not only for this Christian family, but for those in the future who would desire to have a facility for their aging parents or so that they could care for their aging parents. It is due to your action, and I say a brave action, that, that these fees have been changed. I want to thank you that you were brave enough to face this and to make a change for the better in this county. I want to thank Mr. Ahmad Al-Kayat for his work on our behalf. Also, Mr. Matt Traber, who's in the rear, for his work as well. The fees of $15,538 were reduced. The road impact fees were reduced down to $2,300 for our project, and then the other impact fees were mostly either reduced or eliminated altogether. So that building permit fee came down to $3,337. And so I think that you and I, we both give the glory to God for this and for his work on our behalf and to make this county fair for not only the Mars family but for those in the future that would desire to and need this type of facility. So I want to say may God bless you all, and I thank you, and so does the Mars family.
Thank you. Are you ready to move to Madera County now?
You know, it sounds pretty good to me. Sounds pretty good to me. You've got a great place. You do. All right.
We
and it's
apply
certainly
logic.
a great place to work. It's a wonderful place to work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're happy to right that wrong.
Yeah, you know what? it's going to be good for the future as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
Thank you.
I think, you know, not to get too far into it, but it is important where our fees, where they're set, where there is
I think
a
they're
great
graded now.
impact, but to be able to apply logic to different segments, we really appreciate you taking the time to take a step forward and help in that larger policy discussion. So we appreciate you for stepping out and doing it in a way that was, I think, constructive and allowed for us to apply logic where it was and to allow our staff to have more tools at their disposal and you know, they are bound by what our policies are, and when policies are made to be changed if they need to be. So we appreciate you working with our staff and us to get to that in a very logical and meaningful way. So thank you.
And I appreciate your reasonableness, and you're looking at it, and I believe those fees now are graded according to the type of project, the size of project, as they should be.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Max?
just applaud you, you know, for that decision that you made.
Right.
Thank you.
You know, we want to thank you also for bringing it to our attention so we could correct this problem that we're having, you know. And it takes people like you to bring it to our attention so we can correct some injustices that we have.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Okay.
Again.
Thank you. Any other public comment? If anybody else on there, make sure you sign in over here too. Linda, I don't know if you signed in. Okay, thank you. Morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Dave.
Good morning, David Frisbee, and I was here 2 weeks ago and spoke to you about the situation in Rolling Hills, and I just wanted to, since it's such an important situation that we have, I just wanted to summarize what I was here and what I said last meeting real quick. You know, this issue with the water system, if you are looking at potentially taking this vote next, you know, when you meet again, I'm not sure if it's on the calendar. Does anybody know if it's something that's going to be heard at the next meeting?
It looks like March 13th right now is the date.
Okay, so I just want to summarize once more. You know, Cal Water has pledged $1.7 million in investment just to take over the system, and the Gunner Well also, they have an agreement to use the Gunner Well on 10 and Lanes Bridge, which is already there. And while Bakeman, they have submitted a proposal that says they have to borrow the money in order to make the improvements. They have to borrow $800,000 to put in a well. That's their plan. in their plan, it doesn't have anything projected for their site. So in their plan, they're projecting that they have to actually either use an existing well site that's already been condemned and closed down, or they don't have any projections. Just all they have is the $800,000 loan that they're going to borrow in order to build or construct the well. That's it. And so also on the CPUC website, the 2016 income statement shows that Bakeman is losing money, $72,000 for the year 2016, while Cal Water has made a profit of $42 million for 2016. So they're more financially stable. In the sheet that was mailed out for the vote for our Rolling Hills community members, it didn't have all these details for the residents to consider. It pretty much just had the prices and a few details, but not all the main details about financial strength. So it showed Bakeman at $108 per month in price, while Cal Water was at $120. So a resident, I went door to door and spoke to a lot of residents. A lot of residents were unaware of the situation, like the financial strength of the companies and things like that. So if they're voting primarily on price, they're not taking into consideration, all of the factors. And finally, when Madera County did their assessment, they say that we do need infrastructure improvements, and their recommendation was a bond of, say, $3 million or $3.5 million. Well, this is an opportunity for us to not have to take out another bond with Cal Water, and they already have the money sitting in the bank, and they don't have to go get a loan for it. So that's what I just want to make that crystal clear. That they have the money, they don't have to get a loan, they don't have to apply for loans, so that they're a lot stronger. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Okay.
Thanks, David.
Any other public comment? Okay, moving to number 5.
Consent calendar.
Any questions from the board members? Any from the public on consent calendar? Seeing none, what's your pleasure, board?
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a second from Max. Roll call, please.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item number 6.
And now the mass exodus. Let's wait.
Yeah. See?
They were all just here for you, Bill. They were all just here for you.
Well, then I'm going to go.
Okay.
So we can do it, but remember 11.
Thanks again.
10:30.
Thank you, Bill.
Might wanna
So,
just skip to the
okay.
regular.
We're actually going to skip to item number 7 then.
Okay, 7A, Fire Department. Presentation of a
Skip two.
proclamation recognizing Pay Call firefighter Diane Miller for 32 years of dedicated service.
Well, I don't see
Not
Miss
even at 11,
Diane
huh?
here. Had any of you heard from her or anything? No, we haven't heard. Okay. You want to just go ahead and read it, and then actually we can have Sandy or one of them take it down to her, take it up to her. So, yeah, I got it right here.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, proclamation, 32 years of service. Whereas Diane Miller, Pay Call fire captain with the Madera County Fire Department, is retiring after 32 years of dedicated service to the people of Madera County. And whereas Captain Miller began her career at the North Fork Volunteer Fire Station number 11 as a paid call firefighter on June 10, 1986. She promoted to driver-operator in 2010 and eventually assumed the role as station captain, a role she has maintained for over 5 years. And whereas Captain Riggs has contributed greatly to her community over the years, unselfishly sacrificing time from work and family to provide emergency services to the people of Madera County. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Madera, State of California, does hereby proclaim that Captain Diane Miller be commended on her exemplary record of service to the citizens of the County of Madera, and that we extend our gratitude and sincere best wishes on her retirement from the Madera County Fire Department.
she was here so we could tell her and give us to her ourselves. Maybe I'll just keep it and give it to her.
That's a good.
I've known her since she was before high school even, so, and she used to be my sister-in-law, so. Great lady, great worker, hard worker. The whole Radman family is one long-time family up there, so I will take this up there to her personally, so give it to her. Sorry, Diana, wish she was here, darn it. Okay, we went to item number 8.
Do you want
No,
to-
7B, I'm sorry.
Okay, 7B, Fire Department, Type 6 fire engine. 1, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution accepting a donation from North Fork Fire Department Auxiliary for use in purchasing a Type 6 fire engine. 2, discussion and consideration of approval of transfer of appropriations number 17-064 in the amount of $80,000. Transfer from Development Impact Fee Fire appropriations for contingencies to operating transfers out for fiscal year 2017-2018. 4 votes required. 3, discussion and consideration of approval of receipt of unanticipated revenue number 17-063 in the amount of $160,000 derived from fire prevention contributions and donations and fire impact fee to be appropriated to fixed asset equipment for fiscal year 2017-2018. 4 votes required.
Sir.
Chairman, Supervisors. First, I'd like to read the letter that we have put together to recognize North Fork Volunteer Fire Department Auxiliary. North Fork Volunteer Department Auxiliary, on behalf of Madera County Fire Department, we would like to thank the North Fork Volunteer Fire Department Auxiliary members for their donation of $80,000. These funds will be matched by Madera County and will be used to immediately purchase of a Type 6 fire engine to be assigned to Madera County Fire Station 11 in North Fork. This addition to Station 11 will help protect the community of North Fork from now and through the foreseeable future throughout the life expectancy of the fire engine. Madera County Fire would also like to acknowledge the dedication and commitment to the North Fork Volunteer Fire Department Auxiliary to the community of North Fork and thank them for their generosity. Their benevolence will play a pivotal role in enabling Madera County Fire to provide the most beneficial response to all emergencies in North Fork and surrounding communities. This time frame to have this Type 6 fire engine in service is estimated to be March 28, 2018. Delivery time after payment is in 2 weeks. I'd like to present this to Sandy. And as you see our check back there, we looked at this check and we looked at the previous ones that presented in front of the board, and we wanted to make sure that the one that came forward to us was the largest because of the amount of money that was being presented.
That is the largest big check I've ever seen.
and we'd also like to invite the board down for this exchange with us.
I want the other auxiliary members that's here.
Yes.
Ginger, all of you.
All auxiliary members, please.
Norm, come on up.
And while we're waiting for them to come down, I would like to just indicate that on behalf of the communities of North Fork, Washon, O'Neills, and Bass Lake, the North Fork Volunteer Fire Department Auxiliary is pleased to partner with Madera County and Madera County Fire in securing the Type 6 engine for Station 11 in North Fork. The community, through the auxiliary, has been raising money for the past several years and is delighted to be able to provide a new updated engine for our firefighters. We present to you a check, the real one, in the amount of $80,000 for half the cost of the new truck.
Thank you. One note to this purchase, the company that made this fire engine came down and did a presentation to us, and 2 of the supervisors here actually got in that truck and drove it around town. That is the engine that we purchased.
I got to drive it. It was awesome.
That is a fact. So
He wouldn't let me get in the driver's seat.
Mike has promised that I get to drive it, too.
And one other little note, I normally don't speak, so I apologize for being a little nervous here.
You know, one thing about that truck that needs to be noted, this is like a fast-moving strike vehicle. It reminds me, if you were to equate it to something we're familiar with, would be the PT boats of World War II. This is like a quick attack, and very, very good system. In fact, it carries, how many gallons of water was that? 300 gallons. So it's really, really a great vehicle, and I'm glad that we could get this. Thank you.
Get on my shoulders. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, go.
Brittany, make sure you send something to Gina, okay? Okay. Oh, now we're going down there.
Now we're going down here.
Okay.
There we go. And Regina and Eric might want to move. I don't know. They can be in the picture. So Regina, you still have to vote on it. We got the money. Whoa.
15 people killed by falling.
1, 2, 3. Okay, don't move.
Okay, wait, don't move.
I'm good.
Well, I get one of you actually looking at me instead of... It looks strange. I have you all looking a different direction.
Thank you. So everybody, while they're sitting down, Sandy called me a couple of weeks ago and said that we need a letter showing that that fire truck's going to be for North Fork and going to stay in North Fork unless it's an emergency. So that was the letter that we read, and I think it satisfies everyone. It really satisfies us, and so it's a great honor. We're working with a couple of the other fire stations, auxiliaries, to also do this, and so you have something else you want to say, Bud?
Yeah, just one other thing. When the fire engine comes into delivery, we're going to send pictures to Sandy and any board member that would like it, and then through its development here, we have to add our stickers to it and put it into service. So there'll be a sequence of events that'll take place, and we'll be updating Sandy of it, so that way they have an updated time frame on it going into service here in the next month.
Yeah,
so
when we do it, when we do get it ready to put in service, whether it's up there or down here, I'd really like for us all to get together and have a ribbon cutting with it with all auxiliary members. So, yeah, I think it'd be really nice. Uh-oh, Sandy's got something else to say. If she wants to say something, don't worry, she's going to say it.
Well, I would like to request that you all come to you're invited to come to our annual barbecue on April the 28th, and I would like to request that if we're going to have a ribbon cutting around this truck, that we do it then, so that the community of North Fork can see what their money has provided for Station 11. Because it's not our money. We just handle the money. It's the generosity of North Fork and the outlying areas. We get a lot of contributions from Washon, from O'Neill's, from Bass Lake, and those folks should be able to see what goes on in terms of your support for us, and we appreciate that, the support of Mike and the entire Madera County Fire Department. And so we invite you to come and would respectfully request that we have the ribbon cutting then.
Okay, we'll do that. And
April the 28th.
You guys make sure you put it on your calendar because they put out a great food and they got a lot of raffle prizes.
Tom usually wins quite a few of them, actually.
Yeah, I try to win as many as I can. So.
Tom, thanks for buying my ticket.
I'll gladly do it if you guys will come up.
Bix.
I won't buy you raffle tickets because those are mine to win with. So, thank you guys, girls, all of you, so much. I can't thank you enough. So, okay. Is there any discussion from the board members on this item?
Move to approve.
Public, you have anything to say on the item? Got a motion by.
Second, unless you wanted to do something.
No, that's
Okay.
fine.
2 and 3.
Okay, we got it. Roll call, please.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes, and it's officially done. Again, thank you. Item 7C.
7C, Sheriff Coroner's Department, discussion and consideration of approval for the Sheriff's Office of Emergency Services to apply for and accept the CAL FIRE Local Assistance for Tree Mortality Grant.
Morning, Board. This item hopefully will give Sandy's fire engine less work to do. CAL FIRE has graciously, after I guess we'll call it about 2 years of hard work by members of the Board and staff, agreed to fund a grant that we are in the process of applying for. It's a tree mortality grant. It will help make money that you've already budgeted go even farther, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions of Jay from you board members? Any from the public? I just say that it's been a process, and we've got it going, and I can't thank you and your staff that keep pushing for this. And
well, the final item related to this will probably come before the Board in a few weeks. It's not a CAL FIRE item, but it's from the contract that you approved for us to go out to bid for at your previous meeting, and we'll have that all wrapped up. We got that back from County Council yesterday, and that will dovetail with this, and you'll see trees begin to fall.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a first and a second. Roll call.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. 7D.
7D, Workforce Development Board of Madera County. Information update on the Workforce Development Board of Madera County by Executive Director Elaine Craig.
Good morning, Chairman Wheeler, Board of Supervisors, and staff. I'm happy to be here. I apologize. I was absent from the last meeting when I was originally scheduled. I had a minor incident involving my foot and was not very ambulatory, so I appreciate the accommodation to come today. So I am here to update you. I have a relatively brief update, but I will speak very quickly around the Workforce Development Board's work over the last year or so on behalf of the local workforce development system here in Madera County. I'll start with really good news, and it is the relocation of the Madera Workforce Assistance Center. As you may already know, last January on the 24th, we opened the doors at the new center located in the old RMA County building, the Resource Management Agency building next to Walmart. So we moved from a 6,000 square foot building to a 34,000 square foot building, and it has been tremendous. We have every mandated partner either in the building paying or certainly represented at some level, and they include Madera Unified School District with Madera Adult School running their complete adult education and family literacy program out of the center. Department of Social Services, Employment Development Department, Madera Community College Center, Central Valley Opportunity Center, Job Corps, State Center Adult Ed Consortium, Indian Manpower Consortium, Department of Rehabilitation, and then us as the Madera County Workforce Investment Corporation, who runs the Title I Adult Dislocated Worker, Youth, Young Adult, and Business Services programs. I'd like to take this time to thank the partners. It was a great deal of work and effort and time and logistics and paperwork, and we brought it together in a nice fashion. So Over the last year since we relocated, we have had approximately 47,260 visitors come through the center. We're probably short because we opened the doors on the 24th, and we were still trying to get our system in place at the front desk. But still, the number is certainly amazing and indicates how many folks need to access or have accessed, whether it's education, training, social services, disabled services. They're all there in one center. The Workforce Investment Corporation has provided 24,362 various services to customers, primarily job seekers, over the last year. Approximately 2,000 employer services, so very specific services to the business and the community, and 5,288 distinct individuals receiving services like training, where we pay for the training, education, supportive services like mileage, textbooks, drug test, certification fees. So we also pay for all of that. In the course of this, we are developing and implementing what will be known as a virtual one-stop greeter system at the front desk so that we can capture all of the partners' services and why folks are specifically coming into the building, who they're accessing, and why. Just for a point of reference, the average unemployment rate for Madera County for 2017 was 8%. The state was 4.8 and national was 4.4. So that gives you some reference about our unemployment and the needs of the community. We have almost completed the full implementation of the new Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. There were substantive changes to the Act that were all mandated for us compared to the previous Federal Job Training Act, which was the Workforce Investment Act. This included 2 phases of memorandums of understanding with partners, the second one being the hardest because it included finances and tangible contributions to the system. We've also completed the mandated regional plan that was required with our designated regional planning unit that the governor designated, and we're in the Central Valley, so we go all the way from San Joaquin County all the way down to Kern and Yomono. So quite a challenge to get 8 workforce development boards, 11 counties together to form and put together a cohesive and cogent and viable regional plan that we can implement on a regional basis. That did not stop the requirement for a local plan, so we also had to write a local plan for specifically Madera County. We also did an application to the state board and the governor for the Workforce Development Board to be recertified, and that was approved under WIOA. We also had to apply and were ultimately approved to continue to deliver the career services on behalf of the Workforce Investment Corporation. And we also had to let a request for proposals for a procurement for a one-stop operator. And that was mandated because of a firewall issue that WIOA brought into place, and because the corporation was literally doing everything. We ultimately had to get a one-stop operator, and that has been in place since 1 July of 2017 in accordance with the law, and that is a contractor called ProPath. And they're doing a fine job. The Workforce Development Board has also completed and been approved for their mandated baseline criteria certification. So the one-stop had to be minimally certified under what was called a baseline, and we had an ad hoc work group of the Workforce Board conduct that baseline certification, and it has been submitted and approved by the state. And we are currently working on applying for, in the hopes of ultimately receiving Hallmarks of Excellence certification, which is extensive, substantive. We've actually hired a consultant with some regional planning training money that we received in order to get assistance with that process, and that's due by June 30th. We also had to, under WIOA, which was never done before, had to do physical equal opportunity sites for compliance to all training providers. So we are currently in the process of doing that. All workforce board policies have been aligned, rewritten, and/or developed in order to be in compliance and aligned with WIOA. That includes the contract that you just saw a number of weeks ago. We call it the CLEO, which is the Chief Local Elected Official, which is the Board of Supervisors, and you've seen iterations of that over the last couple of years, again, in trying to get it in alignment with WIOA, with the final rules and regs that came out 18 months after WIOA was signed into law, and then subsequent directives from both the state and state legislation. So we're slowly but surely getting all of that into place as well. We continue to maintain the 501c3 nonprofit status with the corporation and the corporate board providing operational and financial oversight. We've had a recent clean single audit, as were the previous 4 years. We've had state monitoring for both program and fiscal with no findings as well. And we were also successfully monitored with a physical visit from the state for equal opportunity compliance. Again, this was a new requirement under WIOA. Just some quick information about some really kind of exciting projects and grants that we've been involved in and have been very lucky in our grant writing. Besides the traditional formula funds that we receive to serve adults, dislocated workers, youth, young adults, and businesses, we are 1 in 5 in the state that received a labor grant for an English language learner project. We were required to hire a navigator for this grant, and we have done so. And we are actually learning quite a lot around how we can better serve the immigrant population, what their needs are, and how we can better assist them to assimilate, acclimate into our country, our community, certainly. We also have received funds from Wells Fargo and from CDBG, the Community Development Block Grant from the City of Madera. Those funds are paying for a customized high school equivalency class with Madera Adult School. We have also received a Workforce Accelerator Fund grant from the State Board, and we are doing a mini one-stop at the Department of Corrections and Probation in order to better provide services, engage the offender before they're even released so that they know about our system, they can learn how to navigate it, be less concerned about coming into the building and what we can offer them, and that we can indeed help them get a job ultimately. We are partnered with 2 other Workforce Accelerator Fund grants. Be careful what you ask for or what you write, because you get them all, and that's what's happened here. We partnered with Fresno Workforce Board on an online technology-based learning tool that we'll be working on, and also with Fresno State's Office of Community Economic Development for a very exciting financial literacy program where we will get a train the trainer from the vendor and be able to provide more comprehensive financial literacy in the center. We're in the 3rd round of disability employment accelerator funds. This is because we were 1 in 5 that got the Disability Employment Initiative money from Department of Labor, and frankly did a fine job with it, and we're being recognized by continuing to get money that's dedicated specifically to individuals with disabilities. We also get technical assistance money in order to help new rounds or new areas with new rounds of money for disability employment. We're currently writing 2 more grants. One is with the City of Madera. It's with Wells Fargo and the United States Conference of Mayors Community Wins Project, where we've partnered with the city and Habitat for Humanity in the hopes of building a home here in the city with paid work experience coming from us, from Workforce, so that folks get construction trades experience. So we're about ready to submit that after it goes to City Council in a week. And also applying for losing my step here. So
Put your finger down there and mark it where you are.
got it. Thank you. And we're also applying for a STEPS. It's an acronym for Summer Training and Employment Program for Students. It's a Department of Rehabilitation money that's coming through the State Employment Training Panel. It's actually for summer work experience for young people still in school with disabilities. So we're very excited about the possibility of getting those funds and providing paid work experience. We still receive AB 109 funds from the county. We're still doing job readiness workshops in Department of Corrections, and we also provide orientations and overview of services upon release. We continue to get Department of Social Service funds for a comprehensive job fair. By the way, the next one is scheduled here in Madera on April 5th, and the Eastern Madera County Job Fair is scheduled for March 22nd. We're currently a VITA site. This is new to us. We've looked at this before. VITA stands for Volunteer Income Tax Assistance. So we're open on Tuesday and Wednesday nights from 5:30 to 8 o'clock for folks to come in and get assistance with tax preparation at no cost. My staff volunteered for that, so they're doing it on their own time. We all became certified under IRS for the level that we needed to be in order to do this, and that's in partnership with United Way of Fresno and Madera counties. We also are still doing comprehensive business services. If you're not aware, we're still offering a free HR hotline for businesses for Madera County. It's done through Sierra HR, so businesses can call an 800 number and get assistance with any and all HR-related questions that they might have. We're still doing recruitment, screening, assessment. We open our center up to businesses like Harbor Freight was just in our building for their new location here in Madera, and them looking for their workforce. And we always have the staffing agencies frequently in our building looking and recruiting as well. We've completed a new Workforce Development Board website along with a Workforce Assistance Center website. Take a moment, take a look at it. It's very professionally done, very easy to navigate, and is very comprehensive. And I'm excited. I just did my first podcast. Was asked by a national training consultant company called Workforce 180 to do a podcast for them, but they gave us the actual podcast, and we'll be posting that on our website, and we'll actually be doing more of them. And the last thing for you is we recently revealed the mural on one of the main walls of the front lobby of the center. About a week or so ago, I believe. It actually depicts the geography and topography of Madera County. It's business industries, and then people in certain occupations are on the mural. It was painted by a local artist. We actually located the artist with the assistance of the Madera Arts Council. Her name is Maria Inez Madrigal. She did a tremendous job, and we would invite you to come and see it, and actually see the center as well if you've not had an opportunity. I'd like to thank both the corporate board and the Workforce Development Board. I'd like to call out Supervisor Frazier, who is currently the chair of the Workforce Board. We appreciate your support for us and your engagement with us. And Supervisor Poitras also sits on the Workforce Board and just recently came onto the Executive Committee. So I'd like to say thank you as well. And I take any questions, comments, as long as they're good.
Well, I don't know what kind of questions it would be because you explained it pretty well in detail.
Okay, thank you.
So, Max.
Elaine, a question for you. You had, 47,000 people come through the front door.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any figures as far as how successful all these programs are, as far as people getting hired and retaining those positions? Do we have any figures?
We do, and the 4 core programs, which is us, Title I, the Adult Ed, Department of Rehabilitation, and EDD, Wagner Pizer, all have performance measures and metrics that we must meet. And it's about job placement, so entered employment, retained in employment for 1 year after we've exited them. We must do follow-up and determine if they're still employed. And then median wage, so we also must track that. That's new under WIOA. So yes, we do. And I'm happy to bring those. The 47,000, adult ed would have their performance measures for how many went into classes, how many completed, and they are supposed to be tracking, who entered employment and then were retained in employment because they have the same performance measures as we do. Same with the other programs. So I'm happy to provide those.
Okay.
Good.
Letty, would you make sure that we get that information? Thank you.
Okay, any public comment on Ms. Craig's? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Elaine.
Thank you, Elaine.
See you next year.
Much better.
Thank you, Brett, for being chair of that. Okay, we're going to move to an 11 o'clock public hearing, number 6A.
6A, County Council Department, Ordinance Amendment, Title II, Chapter 2.03, Section 2.03, Resolution, Rules of the Board. 1, discussion consideration to adopt an ordinance to amend Title II, Chapter 2.03, Section 2.03 of Madera County Code pertaining to the meetings of the Board of Supervisors. 2, discussion consideration to adopt a resolution amending the rules of the Board of Supervisors.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the Board. Regina Garza, your County Counsel, and this is the second meeting where before you is a red line and a clean copy of revisions to the ordinance that deals specifically for when and where you have your board meetings, and then your board rules, which provide some guidance with regards to how you conduct your meetings. I'm happy to answer any questions, and today the recommended action is to approve both of these items. If you approve the board rules, those changes go into effect immediately. However, the ordinance goes into effect 30 days after approval, and so those would be effective at a later date.
Any questions from the board members?
Regina, would you explain some of the major changes you had to make or from the previous ordinance?
Sure. One of the changes is specifically for in-home social services. I'll start with the ordinance, excuse me. The ordinance is only one section, section 2.03.010, and there's two changes made. First, talks about that the time and the location can be changed a bit by the rules, the board rules, and the board rules give the chairman a little bit of flexibility. So, for example, these special on-the-road meetings, they can be considered regular meetings because we've revised the ordinance and the board rules to say there's some latitude in terms of, it usually says the county seat. The county seat is Madera, the heart of California. And so this will allow us some flexibility when we take the board's meetings to different districts, so it can be called a regular meeting instead of a special meeting, and that's helpful because certain items can only be done at a regular meeting, ordinances, things like that. So we want to make sure that the board can conduct their business as they're out on the road. So that's one big change. The other is the language in the ordinance was really specific about when in-home social services could come and talk to you about negotiations. It talked about the fourth Tuesday of a month, and the reality is sometimes they needed to come in at different Tuesdays of the month to get some direction for you with regards to negotiation. So that's the ordinance revision. The policy, the board rules mirror some of those changes, and more closely, we updated the Chairman Pro Tem dates. For example, in 2008, the Chairman Pro Tem is from District 1, just in case you didn't know. Next year, it's District 2 and 2020. So there was references to like 2015. So we updated that, and also just did some minor revisions to really reflect what actually happens, for example, for agenda preparation meetings and who attends those meetings, the chairman, the clerk of the board. So we really worked with the clerk of the board's office to make sure that these rules reflect what actually happens. So a lot of it is cleanup and then flexibility for certain things to happen with the board's meetings.
Very good.
Very good. Any other questions? Any from the public? What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve?
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you for the great work on that. It's been well due for a while. Okay, 7E.
7E, quarterly update presentation regarding the 2017-2018 operational priorities for the Board of Supervisors.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Eric Fleming, County Administrator. I'll pull up the presentation here. Oh, yeah. There we go. Great. Thank you. So back in April of 2017 at our annual Board of Management Workshop, your board identified a series of priorities that you wanted us to focus on as departments operationally. And subsequently, we've given your board quarterly updates in June and October of 2017. So we're here for the third and final quarterly update before we have our next annual board management workshop, which is in April 4th and 5th of this year. So the areas we're going to give you an update on and cover today are our mission and vision statements, intergovernmental relations, public safety, water resources, road maintenance, marketing, and tree mortality. So I think I'll go ahead and we'll go right into our first area of update, and that is our mission, vision, and values statements. And to present that area, I've got Melissa De Silva on her way up.
Thank you, Eric. Chairman and members of the board, as part of the committee for the Mission and Vision campaign, you approved on June 6th the mission of creating a countywide culture of excellence through dedicated public service, and our vision, always excelling as a trusted local government. In addition, we looked at core values, creating a place, capital letters of excellence with professionalism, loyalty, accountability, compassion, and excellence. The mission and vision will be an integral part as we move forward with a countywide strategic plan, which I believe we're going to be focusing on at our workshop. And I'm available for any questions.
Any questions from the board members? Public? Moving on.
Thank you.
That is so well done.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. Our next area was covered by a committee as well, and Gary Svanda is here to provide an update for intergovernmental relations.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the Intergovernmental Work Group spearheaded the formation of an intergovernmental coalition by and between the County of Madera, City of Madera, and the City of Chowchilla. On September 30th, 2017, a joint meeting was facilitated by Bill Chiat of California State Association of Counties. That was held in the County of Madera out at the golf course, and it included the County of Madera, the City of Madera, and the City of Chowchilla. The following objectives were identified for working collaboratively: centralized dispatch, homelessness, economic development, and water allocation issues. A cooperative agreement has been approved by all three entities, and the agreement established a steering committee which has already met twice, with a third meeting scheduled for March 12th, 2018. An ad hoc committee has been established by the steering committee to focus initially on the following two priorities: emergency medical services, EMS dispatch, and homelessness. We hope that our meeting that includes the county and the two cities shall become an annual event. That is our direction and our focus. And we'd like to thank the following members of our committee who have helped to bring our project to this point. They include our CAO, Eric, our county council, Regina, our clerk of the board, Rhonda, Matt Trieber, Melissa De Silva, Letty Gonzalez, and Alyssa Castaneda. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have regarding the work of our committee.
Well, all I can say is that we've been working on this. Gary and I started when I was the second time I was chairman of the board. I called Gary. He was the mayor of Madera here. And we started doing this, and this finally came to fruition. We're getting stuff done together, and we're all part of the same county, and it's just so important to keep moving that direction. It benefits all of our citizens. So thank you and your team and our board for taking this step to keep it moving. So
I'd say it came. Oh, sorry, Rob.
Oh, I just had two questions. First of all, the steering committee that's met twice, and I'd be interested in knowing kind of what the topics of conversation have been and how things are going, and then also, in addition to that, how the ad hoc committees are moving along with the two identified issues.
I will defer to Mr. Fleming regarding those two issues.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. So the group had met. The initial meeting was basically getting our footing and understanding everybody's role. We met in Chowchilla for that meeting. The second meeting was held here at City Hall, and the group initially wanted to hone in on emergency medical services dispatch and homelessness. And that got refined because there was already a study of consolidated dispatch, and all of the law enforcement agencies are still of the opinion that that's probably not the most efficient thing to do based on the investment that's been made in the current dispatches. So, but we did have an issue with emergency medical dispatch. We believe we've got it addressed subsequent to that steering committee meeting, so I think that one's a non-issue. Homelessness is going to be a big ongoing issue. And we do have an ad hoc committee then that came off of the steering committee meeting, which met, I believe, last on the 20th. And we're going to be reporting back to the steering committee with a plan of action, kind of a coordinated effort to clean the river back and forth, and also reaching out and providing service options for people. But so, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this has come like a huge step in one year. I mean, 2-3 years ago, if we would have brought this up, I mean, I don't know, it would have just died somewhere on a vine. So I think the right people were on your committee that are able to say, I don't care about what happened in the past, and like remove a lot of the ego from it. And I think that got everybody on a good footing from both the cities and the county, and led that forward from a place of not ego, not like we're doing this and you got to do it. It was, isn't this a good idea? And I was like, yeah, that is kind of a good idea. And so your approach was well-founded, and I got to be at that one of the steering committee meetings, and there just seemed like there was a collaboration and a willingness to talk about things, and even when there were issues with different crystal towers that were put up or whatever, and in little silos, we talked about them, right? They weren't acted like that doesn't exist, right? We said, no, this is going to be our problem to get past that, and having that kind of honesty and trust with each other, I think, is going to be the important part moving forward, and actually helping people that are affected by these issues, with the homelessness and figuring out, okay, how do we pull together the resources that we have that you don't, but we still need to use your people. We'll just have some of our resources behind it. And it was like a bunch of smart people in the room, and I was sitting there just be like, yeah, I can't wait to tell people I'm part of this. I get to take credit for another thing. I think we've come a very, very long way, and I think we have to just continue to move forward with that without ego, just for the betterment of our community. And I think we have the right people in the room, the right people driving this. And Gary, your positivity and your viewpoint is apparent in all of this, right? It is permeated through the whole process, and so thank you to you. And I know you've been talking about it for years, and you finally got your vehicle to do it, so that's awesome.
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, any other ones? Okay, from the public? Thank you, Gary. Oh, yes, Bill.
I have a question about the homelessness. I'd seen the other day, I drove by the river out here, and there was tents down there, and there were a truck there evidently loading them up, and I was wondering what they do to those people.
I think they shifted them over to your property over there on that side. I've seen one kind of...
I was wondering about that. I know the city of Fresno has that problem, too. I read it in the paper. But I was just wondering, if you move them out like that, do you take their stuff? Or
Yeah. When Fresno moved out theirs, I mean, that after their anti-camping ordinance within the city of Fresno, it moved to a lot of the surrounding areas, and we're the beneficiary of their policy decisions in Fresno. It's been worse this year than I think it has been any of the years that I've been in public service, and so it's you have to log. There's different ways to deal with their personal belongings, and you have to either give them, I think, a 72-hour notice, or if you go in and take it right then, you have to log every single item down to a BIC lighter, and make sure that is held, for a certain amount of time or whatever. But so yeah, you move them out of one place, they go somewhere else, and so that's why we're trying to have that concerted effort together, that we're not just, if we move them out of the county, they're not just moving into the city of Madera or the city of Chowchilla and vice versa. We look at it as an entire region and how to address that issue, right?
That's correct, Supervisor Frazier. And it is a 72-hour notice that these people are given. They're allowed time to take the things that they want to keep and move along. Unfortunately, they leave a lot of trash behind, and so that's when we come in and we haul it off to the landfill. So.
I've seen two trucks there. I think there was a truck there, and then there's another one down the river a little farther, and there was a truck down there, and they're loading them up, I guess. Also, my son pastors a church here in town, and the other night I went into church, and here's a woman that we have two doors, one that goes into the youth room, and here's a lady down that door. And I think they gave her some extra coverage for her. So I'm assuming, I don't know, they moved from the river to the town. And, but you talk to some of those people, and you try to help them, and you say, can I take you to the mission? But they don't want to go. Well, they won't let me have my medicine over there. Well, their medicine is likely not illegal. They have a policy over there. If you're drunk or on drugs,
you can't be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, a lot of them don't want help. They want
That's true.
I just wondered what they did with it.
Yeah, David.
I think you could dissect any group into categories, and there's no difference in the homeless sector as well. There's a certain part of the population that are chronic homeless. They'll always be homeless. That's what they want to do. You'll never change that for them. There are people who are rescuable, employable, and there's a percentage of them. We've identified some of that, and there's been some talk of steps to take to move those people into programs that would benefit the public, roadside cleanup, parks cleanup, that kind of thing, and certainly would make an impact on the situation that we have in that regard. And then, of course, there are people who are there because it's just totally beyond their control, and they would love to find temporary housing, and you have children and their mothers and that kind of situation. And I know that there's a lot of effort being made to make sure that those situations are addressed as well. And another thought in the process, too, at one point a number of the homeless were veterans. And that number's come down, I understand, significantly. But I think on a national level we need to address this situation with veterans, that the Department of Defense needs to be funded and held accountable on its dealing with veterans in general when they and have an exit strategy when they leave their active duty. They need to be evaluated properly and their circumstances dealt with at that point, rather than shipping them back home and then we find out they have PTSD and they can't even assimilate into society in a reasonable fashion. I think we've got to get to the root of that issue right there, and that's a big issue that needs to be addressed, and it's our responsibility as a nation to address it at that point. And I think that could be something maybe we could draft a letter, have some discussion on that, draft a letter to our legislators and address that issue in that forum. And I know there are a lot of veterans organizations and a lot of veterans here this morning that could address that. And some of them have told me, yeah, you're exactly right. When you come out, that's the time to talk about that issue.
Mm-hmm. Those are good points, Supervisor Rogers. Unfortunately, what we're finding here is that we don't have a large group of veterans or people that really want service. We have a growing number of criminals, people that are on probation. There's criminal activity, and there's a growing criminal enterprise down in that river. And these are spillovers from Fresno and from other places, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, Max?
I've been down there with the last time they were cleaning up around under the bridge there, and some of the people that they were told to leave. Their first question is, I think the question is, where do we go? We don't have an answer. Anyway, what was disturbing, what one of the deputies told me, was that he was instructed he was told that the river is a county's jurisdiction. That shouldn't happen like that. It should be the city, county, MID jurisdiction. There should be a mutual cooperation with the three agencies to tackle this problem. You have, I think the Sheriff Department mentioned a number of homeless people that are down there. Well, you have a segment of that population, as Dave and Brad said, that they don't want any assistance. They want to be left alone, folks. So what we have to do is, the people that want to take care of some of the programs that we have available, yeah, by all means, let's try to get them into those programs. The hardcore people, and they are tough. What we should do, and I've been advocating this for a long time, and I don't know if it's the right answer, but we can try it. We should get some nonprofit organizations to secure a location perhaps towards the high-speed rail area over there next to the river, where we can tell these people, this is where you can go. In other words, let's not spend a lot of money on preparing these sites because we don't know if they're going to work. But if we take just water tankers over there for water and put some portable restrooms out there and let them reside there. Take it from there. And if it works, then perhaps we can improve on the situation. The city and county and government can't get involved because there'll be a lot of drug activity down there and people are going to get hurt. Then, of course, deep pocket lawyers will start suing the city, county, whatever. So I don't know if that's feasible. I don't know if the nonprofits would take that responsibility, but I see that's the only solution. We have to find a location so these people can go. That's all there is to it, folks. We can't run them out of the river, and then as soon as the deputies and code enforcement leave, they come right back.
Yes.
They come right back.
Supervisor Rodriguez, that's exactly what we're finding out, and in our ad hoc group, we talked quite a bit about that. And you know, this idea of this coordination between the city and the county and MID to just get this schedule where we're just cleaning back and forth and back and forth. I think in addition to the services, and this isn't for any other reason other than just to try to get these people back where they came from, we're talked about giving them a one-way voucher to go back home, wherever that is. And I think that's at least the first steps we're going to see how
We've done
successful
that in
that
the
is.
past.
Just, you know, I hate to say it, but making some of the people that want to kind of hide out uncomfortable. So maybe they will go back home on their own, or maybe we can give them a one-way voucher.
You know, adding to what I just said, you know, some cities, they have found location for some of these people to move into. But these are not people from the river. These are people that live with their relatives because they can't afford housing. I don't think that's going to solve much of the problem. What we have to do is, like I said, I'll repeat myself, we have to do something. Now, when I mention this idea to different people, some people say, well, you know what you're going to do if you're successful, if your plan is successful, then you're going to get people from all over coming to Madera County. Well, folks, I don't know what to answer, but they could happen. But then the state would have to come in, and perhaps new laws would have to be initiated so that problem could be tackled, if I may. But we have to stay with the first step. Let's find a place for these people to go to, and let's leave them alone. These people are living in the river in a tent, so let's not talking about heaters and stuff like that. Let's stay with the basic, with not too money being spent. Let's try something that they will perhaps do, accept it. And if it works, fine. If it doesn't work, we'll try something else. But this has happened throughout the state of California. And to pour billions and billions of dollars into this problem, all you're doing is creating a bureaucrat society where government's in there, but that's not the way to tackle this problem. You got to get down to the first step and get him out of there, you know. Anyway.
Yeah. A problem that we've heard from law enforcement is that there was, you know, a homeless population that we had here locally, and they've been here for a long time, and they're scared now of being with this new criminal fringe element that's coming in. And I think if we were to say, okay, there's an area where you're not going to get disturbed, that fringe element will just take over that and rule that, and the people that don't want to live by their rules will then go to the other. It'll still disperse. Just, you know, they're not going to just live just in the one area. They'll still go out. But we have to take care of that criminal fringe element and get them out of our community. If they're passing through, keep on passing. You know, wherever you're trying to get to go, this ain't it.
90% when they get released from prison, they go to the county they came from.
Yeah,
you know,
because at that point, I think, like Emmanuel said, they send them with a bus ticket back to the county of origin. But some, you know, some of them are, you know, they're hitchhiking up the road, and then you know, Madera feeds the homeless and feeds them well through Griffin Hall and the different places for them to go.
They do all over. So
once they get to here, a lot of times they'll stick around.
We got to keep moving on here. So Bill, one real quick one.
What I was going to say, if you're talking about housing, I live out on Avenue 17. Well, a high-speed rail has bought 6 houses. Like 4 of them are mobile homes, and one's one's a big, nice house. And they're all just boarded up. They put over the windows and doors, they board them up. But I was just thinking, nobody living in none of them houses. They just from the state, and the state owns them now. They paid a good price for them, I think. But anyway, they're just and they're going to tear them down eventually. But, and that's one of the reasons that you can't even hardly find a rental in Madera now because of all the stuff that's been bought up at the high-speed rail. It's caused a housing shortage, rental shortage. I
Yep.
understand.
There is. Okay, we got to keep moving here. So the next one is public safety.
Yes, next one's public safety, and I believe we've got Tyson Pogue and Mike Serber here with the fire department to cover that area.
Chairman, board members, addressing the fire department replacement program. Right now, our future plan is to address our aging fleet, being that we're at some vehicles right around the 36-year mark. We want to bring that down to the oldest age being at 20 years and address our frontline engines to only be in service for a maximum of 10 years, which we're exceeding that by over 10 on those frontline fire engines. By doing this, we're looking at unanticipated revenue coming in and also savings on our budget side to address that and make that happen. With this year, we're looking at 2 new fire engines coming into service with a new type of water tender that we're bringing in. It's what we refer to as a tactical water tender. It's more serviceable, better ability for all of our personnel to drive it, both on the PCF staff and as our career staff.
Excellent.
Any questions on our...
Any questions from the board members? We put that in place a year and a half ago.
I do have a question. Is that in addition to what we've already added? We've added 3 fire engines and 2 water tenders this year?
Yes.
And 2 trucks?
Yeah, this is our continuing rotation.
Right.
Yeah. And that is also outside of equipment that's being purchased specifically for building agreements.
Good.
So of the new stations. Right now we have 1 new water tender that's currently being built, and then we have 2 engines that will be looking at delivery time next year around April.
Perfect. Tyson.
Good morning. On the law enforcement side, we pared our focus down and concentrated on the 5 things you see there. On the electronic defibrillators, the AEDs, administration authorized this project, and all patrol vehicles for the 17-18 year were equipped with AEDs. This was completed. Additionally, all new vehicles for all deputies, both marked and unmarked, for the continuing year starting in fiscal year 18-19 will also be equipped with these AEDs. It'll take about 5 years for the project to be completed, but eventually every single sworn deputy will have an AED in their vehicle, which is a great asset to the county. Regarding EMS training for the sheriff's deputies, all department personnel or all sworn deputies did receive training above and beyond the police officer standards and training required by the state. We went above and beyond that and received some basic life support training. This was completed. And on a related note, we're working to increase the number of EMTs within the department, and I think you'll see an item coming at some point for that. As far as outfitting the sheriff's deputies with the Narcan antidote, that training was completed, and that's actively being passed out to the deputies now. So that's also been completed. The cadet program, as you can see, was implemented and completed. We should have our first cadets starting in June, and the corporal positions were also completed, and we've made all of those promotions. We've been very fortunate. I'd like to take credit for all this stuff, but as you can see, most of this stuff we relied heavily on the other departments within the county. So Adrian, her team has been amazing, and the CAO has helped us out tremendously in accomplishing all these. So happy to report all 5 of these are essentially completed.
Thank you. Any question from the sheriff?
Great. Good
Public?
job.
Great job. Thank you, guys.
Tyson.
Water resources.
All right. Since we don't have a director of water and natural resources, I'll fill in for the moment. As your board is aware, due to SGMA, we have to have a groundwater sustainability plan in place by January of 2020. It was going to be an expensive undertaking to take on that plan preparation, so we did go after a state grant, the Department of Water Resources, to fund those plans. We actually have 2 plans that we need to prepare in Madera. One is for the Madera Subbasin, and one is for the Chowchilla Subbasin. So we were successful in those grants. We've received a tentative award, $1.5 million for each plan to do the preparation. We already have David's Engineering on contract, and they're doing work out of Davis. And then in addition to that, we were awarded another $2 million to install groundwater monitoring wells, $1 million for wells in the Madera Subbasin, and $1 million for wells in the Chowchilla Subbasin. So, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
I'd like to thank Eric, too, for carrying the ball in this area. He's been facilitating meetings with various water agencies in the county, and myself and Brett and other people, you know, that it's important that we discuss potential solutions and have a little brainstorming going on and develop a sense of trust, because what is coming isn't going to be fun.
Nope.
When we develop that sustainable yield, a lot of people are going to be like, oh my gosh, you know, and that's exactly the getting that information out ahead of time is going to lessen the blow. People are beginning to understand, are beginning to prepare, and coming together. I've never seen our county more united on the issue of water than I have recently. So
until the sustainable yield comes out.
Yeah, then a lot of blame is going to fly. But unfortunately, you know, we have to keep Big Brother state from taking over our situation. We want to stay in control of our future and our resources.
Absolutely.
So we have to develop a plan that works.
Yep.
And come up with every means possible to keep every ounce of surface water and bring in surface water into the region.
Okay, any from the public? Okay, road maintenance.
All right, we've got Ahmad Al-Kayat coming up. Give us an update there.
Thank you, Eric. Hey, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Ahmad Al-Kayat, Public Works. April 17th, 2017, these were our marching orders. Develop a comprehensive county road maintenance plan that includes an evaluation and prioritization policy that will determine the scope and ongoing sequence of road maintenance projects in the county. So since that day, we went to work, and hopefully next on the 20th, March 20th, staff and I will bring up in front of you a contract for award for our pavement management system. But just to give you a quick update, the proposals were received on October 2017. We had the review committee and the interview panel, and I thank Tanya Say, Joel Bugay, and Jason from our office, and Jared. I was just an observer. I had no say, and also and we did a good interview for the 3 top-ranked qualified proposers. We did our scoping meeting, fee negotiations by February 2018, this month, and the final contract is being prepared. Actually, Jared just sent it to me in its final format, just for us to go once over, and then we will send it to you for the next meeting. So in 8 to 10 months, hopefully, we will have already collected all our data, and we have a functioning pavement management system. So we get to work. And any questions?
Any questions on the road? Well, we keep doing them up in the mountains.
All right.
Oops. Public?
More roundabouts.
Yes, actually,
Too soon?
Thank you.
Road 28.
17.
Marketing.
All right, yeah, the next area.
We're 17.
Is marketing. I believe Anthony Duhan's going to be giving the update today. And Brittany as well.
Yeah.
Fix the one next to it's falling over.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Chairman, and the rest of the board members. Brittany Dyer, I'm the District Chief of Staff for Supervisor Tom Wheeler. As many of you guys know, the marketing group has evolved into the Public Information Team, and this occurred on October 24th, 2017, when your board approved the formation. And since that time, we've been on a roll just trying to get the Madera County story, the Madera County brand, out to the people with a centralized goal of just increasing transparency and sharing knowledge to our constituents. So there's been a number of other exciting things that we've also been tagging on with. That includes the 125th anniversary. This year, we have a full committee that's working on that, and again, always keeping in line the brand and message of Madera County, and our on-the-road board meetings as well. I do want to just quickly thank the entire public information team. It's just the two of us up here today, but there's an incredible team behind the scenes that is being led by Adrienne Caleb and her leadership. We appreciate that. But there's also been a lot of support with County Council and IT to make this possible, and of course the support of your board and the CAO's office. With that, we have some fun numbers in regards to some of our social media and press release opportunities. So I'll turn it over to Anthony.
Right. How's it going, everybody? So one thing is really important is I'm big on analytics and actually saying, are we actually spending our time and our money correctly in that aspect? And I'd say without a doubt, absolutely yes. The improvements that we've made in the past quarter just in our outreach, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, even just reaching out to individuals anywhere online has been huge. We've actually doubled our reach. We're actually reaching out 24,000 people this last quarter compared to the 13,000 from December to October. So that's been huge. And also, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the last Mammoth Orange post. People of history are coming to realize, and that one has exploded. So you know, there's a lot of people who are really just are just learning more about what the county does, as well as just learning a little bit of history as well, which has been huge. So with a lot of these other things that we have here, this all circles around the idea that our culture of excellence that was brought forth, you know, with our mission and vision, because you know in part of that of our culture of excellence is actually making sure that we do create transparency, and also we are providing information that's needed to them. So with that, we are going to have the new website that's going to be launching in March, I believe March 5th. You know, fingers crossed. You know, as well as a new URL. So no longer we're going to have the long, you know, co.madera. It allows it's just maderacounty.com. It allows you know, people to actually easily email us too, which is going to be important, which is going to be great.
Yay!
Yeah. So yeah, and also with the website, that one thing that I do find exciting about that is that it does create autonomy now for the departments, where the departments now have the ability to be able to edit something quickly, whether there needs to be a press release that needs to get sent out within that, you know, the hour. They're going to be able to now do that, which creates fresh information that's going to be good to actually make sure that people are actually coming to the website and using it and utilizing it. And also with that, we also have the new service request app that is rolling out in March as well, so 311. I'll be honest, I did not know too much about the 311 program or the app before I actually started working here. So we're going to be working on a campaign to make sure to actually help with outreach in that, to actually let people know, hey, if there's, you know, a pothole, there's an app for that, you know. Exactly, you know. So yeah, and then included with that, you know, new logo and graphics, and that goes into actually the new uniforms for field personnel. A lot of times people are driving by and don't know who actually is working on that, you know, on that road. So we want to make sure that, you know, Ahmad's men there and men and women are there, and they're saying, hey, yeah, you know, Madera County's there, they're really serving us, and you know, and reaching out for that. So I'm really excited about this, and this is, I still feel this is just the very beginning of what we can do in regards to you know, marketing, and also our presence online and just around Madera County. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
I just want to note that this number here, from 644 to 1447, that's a 125% increase in one period.
Oh yeah, yeah, that reach has been huge, and that doesn't even add some of the past interactions we've had, where actually it's actually now our average reach is around 2,450 now. So
the Mammoth Orange post, what was the reach on that?
145.
Yeah.
145 this morning.
Okay, yeah, 145,000 this morning. I mean,
145,000 people.
We became viral. I had never thought that would happen, but I'm very excited.
Thank you, guys, very much. Tree mortality.
Good morning, supervisors. Brittany Dyer, District Chief of Staff to Supervisor Tom Wheeler. Just as a friendly reminder, back in September of 2015, your board declared a local emergency based on the tree mortality conditions in eastern Madera County. At that time, we actually, Supervisor Wheeler and myself, got an invite to go see the governor on October 27th, 2015, and by the time we wrapped up that meeting on October 30th, he actually declared an executive order, an emergency statewide. And so since that time, we've been in Sacramento every month on the Tree Mortality Task Force. We've also been hosting local Tree Mortality Leadership Committee meetings, which occur on a monthly basis. So that's the background, some of the updates since the last time we spoke or gave an update here on a quarterly basis, is the county actually testified at the Little Hoover Commission back in April, and the final report for that was released earlier this month. Also, the Madera County Sheriff's Department, Office of Emergency Services, they've been able, with your permission, to move forward on getting and securing a contract for a tree mortality operations manager. And then, of course, even as of today, earlier in the agenda, you guys passed the CAL FIRE Local Assistance Tree Mortality Grant Program, which will now allow us to get over 100% reimbursement for the tree mortality efforts that we conduct in eastern Madera County. In addition, the Roads Department has been able to secure over $200,000 and drop off over 183 loads of hazard trees to the North Fork Log Deck, which was also created through a grant that we were able to obtain. We continue to work with key partners such as the Yosemite Sequoia RC&D. We've obtained an assist in getting over $1 million worth of grants for tree mortality in eastern Madera County. We also are working with the Forest Service to pursue stewardship agreements. This is to help with biomass. This is help with supply and demand so that we can do forest restoration work into the future. We continue to support the Community Scale Biomass Project. That's on track. And currently we are trying to distribute 25,000 seedlings. Madera County actually took this on to help some of the other mountain communities in our sister counties in eastern Fresno and Mariposa as well. So quickly, I'll just go over some tree counts. The latest results from the Forest Service have confirmed that there's 129 million dead trees. Of those, in eastern Madera County alone, the county has been responsible for removing 6,300 of those. The Forest Service is approaching 100,000. PG&E is nearing 44,000. And Caltrans is coming up to 20,000. So a lot of work has been done, but we have a long way to go. With that, I'll just take any questions that your board may have.
Any questions on the tree count?
Any idea of how many dead trees in Madera County itself? I mean, I know they don't parse that out, but is there an estimate?
They don't parse that out, and the challenge is because of so much of it being publicly owned. So much of it being in the wilderness and so much of it being U.S. Forest Service, whereas our primary focus is just on hazard trees along county roads.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Okay. Thank you.
Bye. Good job.
And that concludes our presentation. And if your board has any other questions.
Any other questions, public?
I just want to say we can't understate the importance of what we're doing here. We have established goals, and we do these goal-setting sessions every year, and then we follow through with monitoring the progress of these goals. And I think it's noteworthy that the benefits that have come out of these management workshops,
right.
And we're all moving in the same direction. There are no longer vectors that are forces that are pulling against one another or away from one another, but in a single direction to accomplish goals. And we're getting a lot done, and I think more than ever before, with less resources and less people. So it's really have achieved a sense of excellence in achieving these goals. Thank you.
We're going to break for lunch at 12, and we've got a few items on here. Is any of them that somebody's got to go or get away, or that we could put in first, move forward?
Looks like they're...
Huh? Okay. 7F.
7F.
Tom, could I say something about that?
I'm sorry, Bill.
About these dead trees.
Yeah.
You know, if they hadn't, back a few years ago, when they shut down the logging and stopped cleaning out the forest, we wouldn't have all these dead trees.
Absolutely.
If we'd had about a third of what should be up there, there'd have been enough water for those trees, they wouldn't have died. But what happened with the spotted owl thing and all that is where the problem is. But I don't know, now it's too late to do anything about it, I guess. But
well, it is, and we've all fought it, Bill, for years. I mean, I've been to so many hearings on it, It's been unbelievable, and
Environmentalists took over.
yep, absolutely, killed our forests. Okay, well, I'm going to move up one,
7H.
7H, so we can get that done. It shouldn't take very long. We're going to do 7H first, Bill, real quick.
7H, Treasurer Tax Collector Department. Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution appointing Melody Bright as a retired annuitant to the position of Administrative Analyst 1 of the County of Madera Treasurer Tax Collector, waiving the 180-day wait period from the date of retirement and making findings in support thereof.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions from the public? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you, guys. 7F.
7F, County Administration Department, General Services Division, Manzanita Lake Planning Unit, Land Acquisition. Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution approving the property donation of a section of the Manzanita Lake Planning Unit to the County of Madera and also approving and authorizing the execution of the following documents. Conservation easement with Sierra Foothill Conservancy. Environmental agreement with Pacific Gas and Electric. Grant deed transaction agreement with Pacific Gas and Electric and Sierra Foothill Conservancy. MOU with North Fork Rancheria, Mono Indians of California. Escrow documents required for transfer of donated land.
Just a little background in case you haven't known. I started working on this probably 20 to 24 years ago when I was the chairman of the Coastal Resource Conservation District. And it's all come about because when PG&E filed for bankruptcy in those years, the courts ruled to do that. They had thousands of properties up and down California, and they had to put a bunch of this out into the public, this property, in conservation easements and for public use. And so we've been working on this, and I got to hand it to Bill and our staff that's really kept this going the 12 years I've been on this board to keep it moving. So we're finally, I think, maybe we'll get it done this year if we get real lucky. Okay.
Good morning. Sean Kirkpatrick, Senior Administrative Analyst of the CAO's office. And we have Bill Hayter.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I know you guys are looking at going for lunch at 12, but this is going to be a little bit of a presentation.
So we will try to go quickly. So really quickly, this has been a long-term project. 2004, Pacific Forest and Watershed Lands Stewardship Council was formed as part of a PG&E settlement with CPUC. This was all part of the PG&E's bankruptcy, and they were basically ordered for 140,000 acres of PG&E lands to be transferred for conservation efforts. And in 2011, Madera County applied for some of that in the North Fork area. Original recommendation we received was for around 200 acres. Since then, that has changed some. Unfortunately, PG&E decided they needed to keep some. County looked at the site previously for OHV purposes, but it wasn't suitable. And the county has now been looking at utilizing the site for the required conservation efforts of outdoor recreation, sustainable forestry, habitat protection, open space preservation, and protection of cultural and historic resources. So this is an area that's under consideration for donation. So it's in the yellow.
In the yellow,
And
yeah.
it's just north of Manzanita Lake. So it does not include the lake itself, but it's just north of, and does include the Willow Creek River that goes down to the lake. So, donation area?
The donation area includes 146.05 acres as determined by the final survey by Jones and Snyder and agreed to by PG&E. It's a suitable location for hiking and equestrian trails, horse corral, scenic view lookouts, parking, campgrounds, bathrooms, plant nursery, maintenance, and emergency road access. The sites on the map are the ones that we've requested the county be allowed to reserve for current and future development. This map does not say that it's all going to happen at once. This is going to happen over decades. Currently, we're looking at sites 1, 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 being developed through the current phase. That includes the horse corrals, the walk-in campground, trails, the challenge trail up on Site 12 to the lookout, and 13 is a plant nursery and cultural site. The significance of the plant nursery is that the Mono tribe is going to partner with the county to grow plants for regeneration in the forest. This has become a critical component because in the funding request that we've put forth, we've asked for money to do fuels management, which is brush reduction. In the last fire, which was 1972, Tom?
Yeah.
A lot of the native plants never regenerated. So we're going to go back in and start from scratch. And the Mono tribe has volunteered to take up the banner for that one. This also could become a future nursery site for other regeneration areas and other forests within the county. The enhancement locations, as defined in the slide, staging area and parking is basically just a small parking area that's currently used by the public. We need to make improvements to it so that we stop the rutting and everything else that's going on and the sedimentation that's going into the creek. We need to improve that so we have a drainage issue taken care of. The walk-in campground is basically a dual-purpose site. We'll have, how many did we say, 5 to 15 campsites within it. It also will be used for CAL FIRE and Madera County Fire as a staging area. Potentially as a helicopter site, not a pad, but a helicopter site.
For refueling, for instance, or mating a fuel truck. So there's basically just looking at all of it all together. We're looking at campgrounds, trails, scenic sites, and a staging in case there ever is a fire in the area. So, campground sites, we're looking at long-term, so this definitely wouldn't be in the first phase. We're hoping to get up to 50 campsites across the different, so up to 50 different campsites for the different campgrounds. Yeah. So, for grant funding, unfortunately, the grant funds that were originally promised by PG&E and Stewardship Council for ongoing maintenance or master plan was no longer available. But we did receive grant funds for surveying and mapping, and we've recently applied for over $500,000 of funding, which we're very hopeful we'll be getting. And that includes funds for fuels reduction, some of the parking, some of the trails for down to the walk-in campground, for working on the maintenance road, pedestrian and equestrian trail segment along there, challenge trail and lookout point, the equestrian corral, picnic area and the lookout point, and the plant nursery. So that means that what we've got left for, and then future agreements that we'll be providing some funding from the Stewardship Council. There's going to be a funding agreement coming later for escrow and closing costs. And then also a tax neutrality agreement offsetting lost tax revenue from the donation of the land to the county. So future developments that need funding would be campgrounds, a domestic water well, bathrooms, some of the connector trails, and any of the parking not covered by the enhancement grant. But there's a lot of other opportunities for funding, many of which we'll be able to apply for after we get ownership of the land itself.
Should note that the possible future funding requires, the state grants that are available usually require a 50% match. Since the enhancement grant we've applied for will not be given to the county until after the land is transferred, so we're talking 2019, that money can be used as the 50% match. So we're not looking at the county for other resources. Good. The money's already there. I think we ought to use it to our best advantage.
So there's definitely some potential to draw down another 100,000 or more for funding for that, which could put us a long part of the way toward getting the campgrounds that we want. So of course other options are charging fees to campers and other such. And of course continuing partnerships with area organizations that are really decreasing the costs here to the county, including the Rancheria of North Fork Mono Indians of California. They're volunteering for fuels reduction, information and educational signage, preservation efforts for restoring a lot of native plant species. The California Conservation Corps assisting with trail design, construction, wildfire fuels management. CAL FIRE and Madera County Fire Department, the fuels reduction assistance. And so we'll mention the letters of support that we have. U.S. Forest Service, PG&E, there's really a lot of partnerships here. The California State Horsemen's Association helping with assistance of the design of the equestrian trails, and the Coarse Gold Resource Conservation District assisting with conservation efforts. And so really, we've gone over this donation process before the board, but there's just a lot of agreements, many of them now, and the conservation easement, transaction agreement, the environmental agreement, and the grant deed are the primary ones. And ones coming later would be the tax neutrality agreement and the funding agreement for covering the closing costs. And really, it's a group effort with PG&E and all the other agencies involved. So current approvals that we're asking for today are for the transaction agreement with PG&E, the environmental agreement and grant deed with PG&E, the conservation easement agreement with Sierra Foothills Conservancy, and an MOU with the North Fork Rancheria of Mono Indians of California. All part of working together to get this to happen for the county. And in the future, we'll be coming back with the other agreements mentioned, including the grant agreement for the enhancement funding.
I'd like to add that with the $500,000 plus that we've asked for from the Stewardship Council, between the concept grant application being turned in November and the final application turned in this month, we've gone from $30,000 of in-kind match to $175,000 of in-kind match from these other organizations. And I just know Supervisor Frazier is going to ask the question about the maintenance. We've looked at a long-term maintenance plan that we're putting together that reduces the county's cost to, we think, $1,000 to $2,000 a year.
Where's that going to come from?
That would come out of the
your general budget.
Our recommendation is that you set aside the tax neutrality payment as a trust fund for future maintenance.
Right.
It's going to vary by year depending on the type of winter we have. If we have a really wet winter, we're going to have some trail damage. In that, the Mono tribe is committing to assist the county to maintain the trails and to provide volunteer monitoring of activities within the forest, and that's a key point. PG&E does not know exactly what's going on in its forest right now. We seem to stumble across things that shouldn't be there. The tribe has volunteered to use their horse patrols to go through and coordinate with the Sheriff's Volunteer Patrol and CHP Volunteer Patrols so that when they go through, they can come back and report, and then we can coordinate an effort to take care of any problems. The California Conservation Corps will provide up to 200 hours of volunteer labor every year. Our suggestion on that one is when we have a bad winter, that's a good time to use that volunteer labor from CCC.
So basically there will be some cost to the county. It's hard to say exactly how much. It does depend some on weather, but largely we're working to minimize it. And so especially initially with the enhancement grant funding, we're hoping that will actually cover the majority, if not all, any costs to the county for the first few years. So we're very hopeful that in the first few years of this, while we're undergoing the major efforts of really getting it set up, there wouldn't be much cost to the county. Again, it's really hard to say exactly how much because, as Bill mentioned, it does depend a little bit on weather. We do have letters of support from CAL FIRE and what we've received before from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Coarse Gold Resource Conservation District, and the California Conservation Corps. as well as, the Yosemite Tourism Group.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Brett?
Well, thank you for asking or answering all the questions I had from the first time. I think this is a good project, and sometimes there's going to be some cost to the county, but the benefit is,
Part
what,
for our people.
what it is for the people to be able to go and use it. There's so I appreciate everything that you guys brought forward, and all of my questions were answered from the first time. So good project, well laid out, and I think this will be a benefit to not just citizens of Madera County, but this is a great place for anybody to go and camp at and use and really, if we're going to be the best place to live, work, and play, we got to have places for people to play, right?
Right.
Yeah. So,
Thank you,
good
Brett.
job. Thank you for answering all my questions
Any
from
other
before.
questions from the board? Public? What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Approve this great project.
Don't try any. We got 4 motions.
Or a second.
Brett made the motion, Max seconded.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Oh, at last, yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Break for lunch. We'll come back at 1:30. Okay, we'll move right to 7G, like in George.
7G, Social Services Department. Discussion and direction to the County Administration Department, Human Resources Operations Division to amend and increase the current position allocations as follows. Personnel Assistant from 1 to 2 positions. Program Manager Secretary from 2 to 3 positions. Senior Administrative Analyst from 0 to 2 positions. Office Assistant Supervisor 1 from 6 to 7 positions.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Supervisors. I am here requesting the addition of 5 positions. Our position count at this point is 330, so this represents about a 1% increase. It's due to the complexity of the rules regarding all our programs. We need a little more administrative support so that we make sure our program managers, particularly those with child welfare, are not spending their time with reports and that we have the resources available for them. Is there any questions in regard to it?
Any questions from the board?
Who's paying for all these positions?
Well, always the feds. No. The mass majority is federally funded, and then through sales realignment, less than 5% is county funds.
Very good.
Okay. Any other questions? Anybody from the public?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a second?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Roll call.
Call for the
We ain't
vote.
passed it yet.
Sorry, sorry.
No.
Oh,
no. No.
Camera angle.
Now what are you going to do?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers.
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers.
I get 2 votes, yes.
Supervisor
I must be a
Wheeler.
very important
Yes.
person.
5-0.
We figured you'd vote yes and no.
And then I cancel each other
Right.
out.
Out of both
Take
sides of
it
your
for or
mouth.
against it, man.
I want to thank you very much. My staff really appreciate
I was
it.
for it before.
Yeah, but you just knew that if Max and I were behind it, how could it fail,
I did
right?
actually go visit every single one of you. No,
Yeah, I was for it before I was against it.
No. Great. Okay.
And I was against it until you talked, and I was for it, maybe. Item 7I.
7I, Board of Directors, Special Districts Maintenance District Number 10A, Madera Ranchos, Public Works Department, Administration Division. Budget adjustment authorization for MD 10A, Madera Ranchos for additional operations and maintenance, Valley Teen Ranch, and Golden Valley Unified District Consolidation Project. 1, consideration of approval of transfer of appropriations number 17-062 in the amount of $50,000, transfer from MD 10A Madera Ranchos appropriations for contingency to professional and specialized services for fiscal year 2017-2018. 4 votes required.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Mohammed Al-Khatami, Public Works. The item before you is a budget adjustment for MD10A's water system. Action 1 is we would like to transfer $50,000 from contingency to professional and specialized services. We are doing maintenance on the highest producing well in that district, Kensington well, and we needed to move that fund in order to have a positive budget at the end of the year. Item 2 is $1.5 million in unanticipated funds from the Valley Teen Ranch Golden Valley Unified School District project that we just received an approval for funding for approximately $6.6 million. Approximately $1.5 million of it is connection fees. That money will be going straight to the district. It will be used to build a 1 million gallon storage tank and pay off some loans on the district as well. We have a presentation about the project, a quick update on it.
That looks like a bunch of cows running down the road. They're going to knock holes in that water tank?
So just a quick update on the project. The project will give us a new well plant site. It's going to have a motor control center, MCC panel, which is the brains of the system up there. Hydropneumatic tank to control the pressure. Backup generator in case of electrical failures. And it's also going to have approximately up to 15,000 feet in water main that will connect the 2 schools, and much more. These are some of the items that are going to be included in the project. Financial info, it's 100% grant-funded project, Proposition 1, through the state. The project estimate is just under $6.6 million. MD10A will receive $1.5 million, like I said earlier, in connection fees as part of this project. So in conclusion, for this project, we're going to be connecting Golden Valley Unified School District, Valentin Ranch to MD10A water system. It will add a top-of-the-line well plant for the ranchos. It will have a 1 million gallon storage tank, biggest in Madera County districts. It will pay for most, if not all, the current loans for that we had for the Dublin well plant. And then, most importantly, we'll qualify for up to $10 million in 0% interest rate loans to do the pipe replacement project. That should cut almost their people's bills in half.
Wow.
So, and then
You're
I'll
an
pass it to
amazing
Ahmad.
supervisor. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mohammed. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Ahmad with Public Works. This is, I mean, I just like to give the credit where the credit is due. I mean, staff first, and one of them specifically, also your board, Supervisor Frazier. You've seen how much outreach we've done, and you supported us all along the way. This is one of the projects that kept evolving or changing, completely changing. I mean, it took us on a 180 twice already, 4 times, with fundings, with the partners, with all that. But we stayed on it, and I'd like to recognize Alvina Prakash. Tomorrow is her last day with us, and that was one of the significant wins that you can feel the love in this room, right, Alvina?
We love you.
I'd like to thank her persistence and
We get fired.
diligence. So anyway, we're here for any questions.
Here's a joke. I got one question.
For questions.
Have you guys talked to Bill Truce yet and see if this is okay with him?
Hey, you leave him the hell out of this, you know.
Wrong district.
I just thought it would be how to put in a cog wrench right in the middle of it, man. Okay, any questions? Avina, you got something to say?
No, yeah.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank everyone for all your support. You know, Ahmad, Mohammed, all the supervisors, you know, all the projects, you know, they're easier to manage with support. So just moving things along, it goes much faster. Thank you for the 3 years. I really enjoyed it here at the county. Thank you, everyone.
Good.
So who was it in the luncheon we had just now for it? I congratulate her, but I told her I hope she gets fired so she can come back here as soon as she gets fired.
Because we'd have a spot ready for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was the little engine that could. You know, it kept on going, and I mean, it went from so many different iterations, like you said. This was something that predated most of us, right? This had been first. The Valentin Ranch had tried to go to the state to get a grant to get a well for their site because they had contaminated well. Then the state told them that they had to have us on board, so then we took over management of the grant application, and we had to get rid of some people from the state.
Oh, that's right.
That was on this one because the goal line kept moving, right? And the best part was Alvina and her, you know, her list of dates and what had happened at every single. And she's like, no, this is when you said this, and this is when you said this, and this is when you said this, and this is where we were. And it was just like I want to miss that. That was so nice to have that detail because as you know, that was what helped get it. That was one of the major things to help get it over the finish line was just having the vast knowledge of all the different changes, especially because it was always being told we had to go and pivot and do something different, and part of it was just to you know, have an agreement with the school, and then we actually had to consolidate with the schools. So then we had to talk to the school district about whether or not they wanted to be in the water business. And at the end of it, I mean, you look at the list of all the things that you got for the community of the Ranchos. I mean, you guys went out and got this. I just got to piggyback on the shoulders of giants and sit there and go and say, thank you, I did it all. You know, it was all me. But you know, the amount of work and persistence that you all kept on it with, pushing at the right times, pulling back at the right times, facing a lot of anger and ire from the community, because at the end of the day, we're the arm's length government, and never did you just say, well, it's their fault, and then give up on it.
Right.
You continue to go forward, even though you were getting a lot of the flack for it, and this is going to help.
Thank
now
you,
we
buddy.
have to go on to the next project, really move it forward, and this $10 million loan, like how you just like snuck that in at the end. It was fun to watch Mohammed get excited about every little thing that he was able to get, and you know, they'll be out of debt with a new well and a storage tank that no one's had forever.
That whole area.
Yeah, and they finally feel like there's that people at the county care, and it's because you guys do, and I just appreciate everything that you did for them and for me. So thank you.
Mr. Max.
You know, Fred, you know, he gets billion-gallon water tank, wells, storage tank. You know, he gets all the improvements, and Tom, he gets a roundabout. District 4, I've been begging on my knees for improvements on Road 28.
Where's that?
And nobody listens. That's what I mean. Nobody even listens. You didn't listen either. Either way, let's get to what I want to say. You know, you have Bina and you have all your assistants here, but you know, it takes a strong leader to lead these people in the right direction. And apparently it's working, because you've done a good job, and you're getting better all the time.
That's right.
Okay. How about Road 28?
Road 28 is on my mind.
Yeah. You
always on my mind, always on my mind.
Oh my goodness!
Sound like Willie, huh?
Hey, it sounds like I think the rest of the road just cracked.
Okay, come on. Any other questions? Anything from the public? Nobody from that district here. Unbelievable.
That's because
what's your pleasure?
Make a motion for approval.
Whoa. Hold it. No, not on this one. Any other one, I don't mind stepping on the toes. This one.
I second it.
Yeah, I move that we approve this item. Thank you, Rob.
There was a pause, sorry.
Yeah, any other one, but this one I've got to.
We'll give the credit to Rob since you were pausing. Okay.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Sure ruled us.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yep.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you, guys. And girl.
Thank you.
Even though you're leaving us.
That's huge.
That is huge.
The biggest set of stuff ever done.
Okay. Pending legislation.
Discuss, support, or oppose legislation presented by supervisors and/or staff for letters of support for Assembly Bill 2197 and Assembly Bill 2842.
Good afternoon, Board of Supervisors. Brittany Dyer, District Chief of Staff to Supervisor Tom Wheeler. The first piece of legislation in front of you is AB 2197. This was put forward on February 12th by Assemblyman Bigelow, somebody a few of you guys might know. And this is something that's been long overdue, something that's been in the making and that Manuel and his team have been working on for a long time. And so it's our recommendation that you fully support it to move it forward, and I'll hand it over to Manuel.
Hey, buddy.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Just a little background.
Say your name so that everybody...
Manuel Perez, your Director, Madera County Department of Corrections. Just a little background on this item and what it means to staff. Is it going to change how we do business? The answer is it's going to give us the ability to enhance services. And what I mean by that is there's only certain courses that post police officer standard of training will offer for somebody who has police officer status. We've been doing the job of classification for many, many years, and as you know, the jails has its own little community inside. So if there's a crime committed, my staff do the best they can with the investigation, and if it's criminal, we turn it over to the DA. What this will give me, actually as a director, the opportunity under the peace officer giving them the rights, is I will be able to send certain officers that are working inside the jail to certain types of training that just peace officers can go to attend. So this will enhance our ability on doing a better job for Madera County. And that's just an example. Right now, if there's an assault on your staff, on my staff and the county employee, it's a misdemeanor charge.
Oh.
Under this authority here, it'd be assault on a peace officer, which has a little bit of meat to it, which will keep our staff just a little bit safe. And that includes gassing, them throwing feces or urine at your employees. Right now, it's a misdemeanor. So
That's bad. Ooh. Thank you, Emmanuel, man. Okay, any public comment on this? What you guys, thumbs up? Thumbs up? Okay, you got that one.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, the next one, 2842.
That's correct. The next one in front of you is also from Assemblyman Bigelow, and this has to do with tree mortality. And it actually would put $20 million aside for a woody biomass program that will help with biomass efforts throughout the state. It would keep our lumber mill markets in the state of California and also reduce carbon. So this is something that they're hoping gets moved forward to the Natural Resource Committee in mid-March. It's still a long ways out, and we're trying to sit at the table to make sure that as they get detailed about the grant, that we're able to make sure that the Sierras and the best little county in the state of California isn't forgotten.
Any questions for anyone? Thumbs up?
Thumbs up. These are two good pieces of legislation by Good.
You want them? All signed, sealed and delivered. Any other pending legislation? Seeing none. Supervisors and staff reports. Rob? Dang.
No report at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Max?
We had a very good meeting, and I really enjoyed being with you guys today.
Yeah, it was. Vina left, but that was really good. A lot of good homemade food. Wow, it was.
I met with the Regional Health Authority and the JPA.
Mr. Brett?
Next week or the weekend? I think next week going to ICSC.
Good.
It's the International Council of Shopping Centers.
Oh.
So it's all of the major retailers in the world come together one place. And
you're going to promote Madera County?
Trying to show Madera County.
Big county in the state?
Mm-hmm.
That's demand, buddy. Yep. Eric?
Nothing to report.
Regina?
No report, Chairman.
Rhonda?
No report, Chairman.
I just got one. Saturday I went to the ribbon cutting for the new playground at Indian Lakes subdivision. They've been working on it for 2 years. They got a $25,000 Chick-Chancellor grant that we all approved for them, and it's taken that long to get it done, but it is absolutely beautiful. And there was a big crowd there, so it was really nice. So great. I want to thank the Indian Lake Association and also the Chick-Chancellor for giving that money for them. So, okay, that's it. I think we're all done. Anybody want to adjourn it?
So moved.
And we'll have our next meeting March the 13th. Thank you. Thank you, guard. You protect us. You never know.